Hello everyone, welcome to Easy Biology. The topic is about intermediate second year botany, unit 3, genetics. Chapter 9, principles of inheritance, and evolution. In this chapter we are going to discuss about these concepts. First one is the Mendel Experiments. Inheritance of one gene means monohybrid cross. Deviation from Mendelian concept of dominance. Fourth one, inheritance of two genes means dihybrid cross. Next one, fifth one, chromosomal theory of inheritance. Next, sixth one, linkage and recombination, and finally mutations. So these are the concepts which we are going to discuss in this chapter, principles of inheritance and evolution. First one is the Mendel Experiments. Second one is the inheritance of one gene, monohybrid cross. Deviation from Mendelian concept of dominance. Inheritance of two genes means dihybrid cross. Chromosomal theory of inheritance, linkage and recombination, and mutations. Okay, so now we will discuss about first topic, Mendel Experiments. So see, a mother elephant gives birth to baby elephant only, right? And whenever we sow a mango seed, then a new mango plant will come from the mango seed, not any other plant. Okay, so it's mean whatever the offsprings formed, they looks identical as parent. The offsprings look identical to parent. Of course, there may be no similarities sometimes. For example, our siblings are there, so we may have some similarities with our siblings, but sometimes may also not have the similarities with our siblings. So in this lesson what we are going to discuss is genetics is a branch of biology. Which deals with inheritance and passing of characters from parent to progeny on the basis of heredity. Okay, so genetics, so all these questions are going to solve in this branch of biology. So genetics is a branch of biology which deals with inheritance and passing of characters from parent to progeny on the basis of heredity. Next, so Mendel conducted his experiments on pea plants. Mendel conducted his experiments on pea plants. Right. So why he choose pea plant? Why he choose garden pea plant only for his experiments? Because pea plant is very easy to grow and cross. It is very easy to grow, and for crossing purpose pea plant is very suitable. That is why he selected, Mendel selected pea plant. And next, it can perform self-fertilization. It can perform self-fertilization as it is a bisexual plant. So it is bisexual, it possesses bisexual flowers. Okay, and also able to perform cross-pollination. Okay, and mostly these features means well-defined features. All these well-defined features makes him to select pea plant for his experiment. Okay, and it is also annual plant, so which is completing its life cycle in year. Okay, and Mendel conducted his experiments for several years. Nearly 7 years he conducted experiments on pea plants. So to understand the inheritance, and by studying this concept in living organisms, he proposed laws of inheritance. Okay, he proposed laws of inheritance. And Mendel selected 14 contrasting pairs. So for each character there is 2 contrasting pairs are there. So Mendel selected total 14 contrasting pairs, and also these are the 7 characters which he selected. First one is the seed color, seed shape, pod color, pod shape, flower color, flower position, and finally stem length. Okay, so according to Mendel, he said that for a character there are 2 things is there. 2 traits are there. One is the dominant, so which is expressing more times it is called as dominant, which is oftenly or rarely it is called recessive. Okay, so seed color. Okay, pea seed color, which is the dominant, is yellow color is dominant, green is the recessive. And shape, round is dominant, wrinkled is recessive. Pod color, green is dominant, yellow is recessive. Pod shape, inflated is dominant, constricted is recessive. Flower color, violet is dominant color, whereas white is recessive color. Flower position, axial position is the dominant trait, and recessive is the terminal position, flower position. And finally stem length, tall height is the stem length which is dominant, and dwarf is the recessive trait. Okay, in stem height. Right, so these are the 7 characters he selected, and these are called 14 contrasting pairs. And Mendel performed his experiment such that he confirmed the characters which are obtained to the offsprings through his experiments, and he called them as a true breeding pea lines. Okay, what is a true breeding line, right? What is a true breeding line is, a true breeding line is that which have undergone continuous self-pollination, and express stable traits, express stable traits for inheritance for several generations or successive generations. That is called true breeding line. True breeding line. Okay, right. So next we will discuss about inheritance of one gene, monohybrid cross. Inheritance of one gene, also called monohybrid cross, right. So here Mendel selected height as the character. So in this, what the Mendel saying is, first he selected pure tall plants producing plant, okay, and he also selected pure dwarf plants producing plant, and he performed cross pollination between these true breeding line, okay, cross pollination. And when he performed cross pollination, whatever the generation obtained, he called them as F1 progeny. Progeny means offspring. F1 means first filial generation. First filial generation or F1 progeny. So whatever the first generation are there, they all are tall. They all are tall and they looks like one of the parent. Here one of the parent in the sense like this. Okay. And again he selfing between the plants which are produced from these. Again he performed selfing between these plants. So self pollination. When he performed these plants, he observed that 75% of the plants looks tall, whereas 25% of the plants look dwarf. Okay, 75% of the plants look tall, 25% of the plants look dwarf. But here one thing he observed is there is no blending. Blending means there is no deviation from tall or dwarf. Means the plants are obtained 75% tall, 25% dwarf, but not in between. Height. Between tall and dwarf, there is no other plant. They are 75% tall and 25% dwarf. Okay. From this experiment, Mendel understand and hypothesized that he came to understand that whatever the characters which are passing, those characters are passing such that something is stably passing. Okay, something is stably passing from parent to progeny or offspring. Something is stably passing from parent to progeny through gametes. Something is stably passing from parent to progeny through gametes, he said. And he said that these things are nothing but factors. He called these things as factors. Okay, nowadays we are calling these factors as genes, right? So from these experiments, what the Mendel understood, something is stably passing from parent to progeny through gametes from several generations, and he called these things as, which are stably passing them, as factors, and these factors now we are calling as genes. And the genes are the units of inheritance or heredity. These genes are the units of inheritance or heredity. And what about alleles? Alleles are nothing but slight changing forms of genes. Slight changed form of genes are called alleles. So alleles are slightly changing forms of genes. Means a little bit of change is there between the alleles which are nothing but genes, but which are having slight change, we are calling as alleles. Okay, right, next. So a famous person called Reginald C. Punnett, he suggested a checkerboard, which is also called Punnett square, and Mendel also said that whatever the F2 generation obtained, 75% is tall and 25% is dwarf. Okay, so Mendel is saying that these, whatever, by seeing this physical appearance of the individual is called phenotype. By seeing we are able to say 75% are tall, 25% are dwarf. So this phenotypic ratio in F2 generation is 3:1 of monohybrid cross, and in case of genotypic ratio 1:2:1. Okay, for example, we can also take here in the form of Punnett square. Okay, in the form of Punnett square we will take, right. So here the genetic makeup of an individual is called genotype. Genotype means, what is genotype? Whatever the alleles present, through which type of alleles present inside the gene. Okay, it is called genotype, and how they appear, it is called phenotype. For example, if they look tall, it is called phenotype. If they look dwarf, it is called phenotype. But why this is tall? Because of either these two, it is tall, or because of this reason, it is tall. Okay, but we cannot able to say what is present inside, whether like this the alleles are present or like this the alleles are present. Okay, we cannot predict the internal character based on external visible character. We cannot predict the internal character, and no doubt this is small t and small t. So for example, see here, capital T, small t, capital T, small t, and we are making cross pollination between the F1 generation. See, capital T, capital T, capital T, small t, capital T, small t, small t, small t. See here, this is tall, this is tall, this is tall, 3:1. Okay, but 1 is this one, 2:1. This is the genotypic ratio. So the alleles which are expressing a trait, if they are both similar alleles, it is called homozygous alleles. Okay, if they are like this, so these are called homozygous dominant alleles, these are called homozygous recessive alleles. Homozygous dominant alleles, homozygous recessive alleles, and this is the heterozygous alleles. Heterozygous, this is called heterozygous. Okay, right, next. So Mendel also expressed them in the form of probability. Mendel expressed them in the form of, why? Because genetics is the branch of biology where first time logic is applied, statistics is applied, and problems are solved first time in biology. Means mathematics is involved in biology, in this branch of biology only, that is nothing but genetics. Okay, so according to Mendel, in F2 generation what we obtained? 1/4 of F2 generation we obtained 1/4 tall, and 1/2 tall only. But what is the difference? Here capital T, here capital T, small t. Okay, and 1/4 small t. Okay, and we can also express them in the form of a probability. Means 0.5, 0.25 here, 0.25 tt, 0.5 capital T, small t, here 0.25 small t. Okay, so like this, by using these variables we can also express them in the form of a binomial expression. By using these variables and these terms, we can also express them in the form of binomial expression like ax plus by whole square. Okay, how means, see, first, so whenever we express them in the form of binomial expression, 1 by 2 capital T plus 1 by 2 small t whole square equal to 1 by 2 capital T plus 1 by 2 small t into 1 by 2 capital T into 1 by 2 small t is equal to 1 by 4 capital T plus 1 by 2 capital T small t plus 1 by 4 small t. Okay, so like this we can able to express the binomial expression. Okay, and next, Mendel also said that the genotype for dwarf is always homozygous like this. In F2 generation or any generation, the dwarf trait is like this, expressed in the form of, always in the form of homozygous only, whereas tall is either homozygous or heterozygous. Okay,